Hey everyone! So after my recent podcast, which I will link in the description below, a lot of you were asking about visually seeing how I run my sensory stories. So this past week I had What Should Danny Do? This beautiful book sent to me, courtesy of Garnet and Adja Levy, and there were 9 stories in it, and it's all about promoting choice and giving your children a choice, but I really like that it makes my children think about actions and the consequences that can come from those things that they choose to do. So this will be the next story that I'm going to do with them. So when I run a sensory story, I always make sure that I run through the story first, and so that I have access to all the things that I might need. When I'm running a sensory story, I will have a basket like this one here. If it's small items, just so I can keep everything together and it's prepped in advance, so that when we do the sensory story, I can just pull it out and it's all ready. Now, sometimes if I have a larger group, I'll just have 6 or 7 of these baskets, or I'll have one large tray or box of trays, and then I can sort through them quickly and easily, just so that the story runs really smooth. So today the story is What Should Danny Do? I have these 3D glasses. I have a lemon. I have lemon juice. I have a fantastic superhero cape that was sent to me by the authors of the book What Should Danny Do? And this is what I'm going to wear, and all my students are going to be given one of these superhero capes as well, or similar, so that they can wear them and be the superheroes throughout the story. Now, you can get superhero capes really cheap on places like eBay and Amazon, and they can literally get 5 or 6 or even 10 sometimes with masks for less than £10. And finally, I have these pancakes. Now, every story is a little bit different, and some stories you're going to be able to have a lot of things, and other stories you may not have as much to use through the sensory story. That's totally fine. What I would recommend doing is having a story that has only a few first, if you're beginning sensory stories for the first ever time with your class, just to get them used to them, and then you can build upon them and work on them as well. So I'm just going to do a little introduction. We're going to have a little look through the different pages and how I use these. So as I said, this book is What Should Danny Do? I really like this book. You can probably see it on my Instagram stories where I went through it a little bit, and it's just perfect for my students. So this first page, as you can see, this book is so bright, it's colourful, the pictures are engaging, and the first words are, "Hi, my name is Danny. My favourite things in the whole world are soccer, superheroes and ninjas. I also love skateboards, but I don't have one yet. You may be wondering why I'm wearing a cape. So I'll let you in on my secret. I am a superhero in training. That means I have some superpowers, but I'm still working on the rest." Now this is the point where I will get out our capes. Now, as I said, this one was sent to me by the authors of What Should Danny Do? You can get one of these, you can get any superhero cape, and I will go around and every child will have one of these put on them while they're listening to the story. I feel like it just involves them in the story more, and they can sort of be playing along as the character. So this green arrow here, that means turn the next page. So here we're going to run through some of the different things that Danny does. For example, I jump super high and I run super fast. I have super muscles, and even though I can't fly just yet, I'm still working on it. Now, although you don't need any items to go with this page, you can get your students to act out all these different actions with you. I jump super high. Everyone stand up, let's jump. I run super fast. Who can run the fastest on the spot? I have super muscles. Everyone show me your muscles. And even though I can't fly yet, I'm still working on it. Here you can get your children to put one arm out and see if they can fly yet. It's all about involving your children in the story. So Daddy says that my most important superpower of all is my power to choose. And this is basically what all this story is about. And today it's a special day because the readers will be making choices for Danny. So the story begins. Do I smell pancakes? I love pancakes. I zoom downstairs. Chocolate chip pancakes, I yell. And now I pass around the pancakes. So you can get chocolate chip ones, you can get plain ones. Some of my students are still trying food, so I try to keep them plain for them in the beginning, then I'll add different flavours. So you can hand a whole pancake around to them, or you can break little bits off. Now, I never force my children to try them. I will encourage to sniff, hold it, even touch it while I'm walking around, because for some of my children, food is a huge issue. So just by getting them to sniff it, touch it, even have it near them, or just hold it in their hands like this is a huge deal. Now, with foods, I do like to make them a lot of fun to encourage my children. So I may take a frying pan, put the pancake in, and they can all flip the pancake, especially if they're too nervous to touch it yet. But then I see my brother Charlie eating from my ninja plate, and that plate is my favourite. I want the ninja plate, I say. I know you love that plate, Mommy says, but Charlie's already eaten from it. She puts 2 pancakes in front of me, but they're on an alphabet plate. I already know my alphabet. Now, you can get hold of an alphabet plate. You can put plates in front of them to choose from. You can literally make this as engaging and interactive as you want. Now, the most exciting part of this book that I know my students are going to go crazy for is you make the decision. So what should Danny do? Eat the pancakes on the alphabet plate? Go to page 26. Or yell until he gets the ninja plate? Go to page 16. So we are going to eat the pancakes on the alphabet plate, because I want to encourage my children to share, make good choices, but if they choose the other option, that's totally fine. And this book will go through, the consequences of making those choices. But can I get the ninja plate next time, I ask? Mummy smiles and says, of course. The pancakes are delicious. I can feel them charging my superpowers with every bite. And after we finish, Mommy tells us to get ready because we're going to the park. I love the park. Do you want to set up a lemonade stand while we're there? Mommy asks. Yes, I say. No way, Charlie pouts. I want to play at the park, not work. You can play, Mommy says, but you won't get to share the money if you don't help Danny. That's okay with me, Charlie says. I quickly get dressed, then I make a big lemonade sign. Now, in the lead up to this book, you can have your students make a lemonade sign and pass this around, or you can even just skip this bit and not make it interactive. So I get 10 lemons, 2 pitchers, and some sugar. And I'm lucky I have the super muscles to carry it all. Now, this is where you can take the basket round and ask the children to find the lemons and the sugars that are off the floor, put them in the basket. My students aren't really up to that level yet this year, and it is coming to the end of the year where they're a little bit more tired. So I will be putting lemons and apples in the basket, and the children can pick out the lemons from the apples. It's a great way for me to work on the sorting skills and for them to be able to differentiate between different fruits. So I squeeze the lemons, but this last one is really hard. So I'm going to pass around the lemon and encourage all the children to squeeze the lemon as hard as they can. I summon my super strength and finally get the juice to come out. Now this is when our lemon juice comes out. Now I have got diluted lemon squash in water, and this is what I'll be passing round. So the children will all have their own cup each. I do use plastic milk cups with a straw, just because a lot of my children are still working on those oral skills and using a straw and transitioning to cups. So this, I encourage them to smell it, they can put their fingers in there, they can drink it. I'm all about them trying in their own time. I don't want to force nothing on the children and provide a negative experience. So you're all about pushing that positive experience. And if they try it, that's fantastic. But bear in mind that this will build, and I like to keep the same story for a period of a few weeks so the children get more and more exposed to these fruits and drinks and different items, and then maybe they'll feel more confident to actually taste them. So, oops, the juice squirts right into my eye. Ow, it stings so much I start to cry. Charlie laughs at me. So now we have another scenario. What should Danny do? Stamp really hard on Charlie's foot, go to page 56, or tell Charlie that isn't nice, go to page 34. So we are choosing to tell Charlie that isn't nice. So we're going to go to page 34. Laughing at me isn't nice, I tell Charlie. Mummy is happy I use my words to let Charlie know how I feel. She helps me rinse my eye and the sting slowly goes away. Now, a lot of times when these books mention washing hands, I'll get a basket or I'll get some hand wash and the children can wash them. I wouldn't recommend rinsing the eye just because I don't think the children really like that. So I finish making the lemonade and Mommy lets me have a whole glass. That makes my eye feel even better. We get to the park and Charlie runs off to play. At first no one wants my lemonade, but then a great idea pops into my head. I use my laser beam focus to turn the plain lemonade into super lemonade. Now this is when we're going to use our 3D glasses. Now you can use any sort of glasses that you want. I switch mine up depending on the time of year, what story it is. Sometimes I will have crazy glasses with the swirls in them. Sometimes I'll have giant glasses. Sometimes I'll have 3D glasses. Sometimes I'll have different colour ones. It's just a great way to sort of give your students a different visual experience. Now, put these glasses on each of your children and make them stare at the lemon juice again and focus in on it. Now, a fun way that we are going to do is we are going to add maybe some strawberries into one of the juices. So the children, if they are tasting it, they can get that little bit of different taste for what the superpowers have changed in the lemonade. I shout as loud as I can, fresh squeezed super lemonade, only 50 cents. Drink some and get a superpower for the day. My idea works. After an hour, I have just 1 cup left. Now here, if your students are working on money, you can ask them to put money in, or they can pay it, they can put it into a till, put it into a pot. So you can see there's so many different ways that you can make these stories interactive. I see a girl running towards me and I use my mind reading ability to see that she wants a superpower of her own. But then, oops, she trips and knocks my table down. The last cup of lemonade spills all over my shirt. Now we have another scenario to choose from here again. What should Danny do? Help the girl up, go to page 38, or yell at the girl for spilling his last cup, go to page 42. So we are going to help the girl up, so we go to page 38. I help the girl up. I'm so sorry, she says. Don't worry, I tell her, it was just an accident. Her mom pays me a whole $1 for the cup she spilled, even though my mommy says she doesn't have to. Score! I made $26 from the lemonade stand, and I remember to set $3 aside for charity, so I have $23 left. Mommy surprised me and takes me to the toy store because of how good I've been today. I know exactly what I want to get, and I've made just enough money to buy it. I get home and ride my skateboard down the street. Wow, I'm finally flying. Whoosh! My best friend Jakey sees me and says, "Whoa, Danny, how did you get that cool skateboard?" I tell him about my superpower lemonade and offer to help him make some next week. He's super excited. Now, if you wanted to end the story with a little bit more physical activity, get your students moving, you can get hold of skateboard or scooter boards we would probably use with my students, and they can go around the hall or a garden area just to get them moving, and it adds to the story as well. So this book, as I said, it does have different scenarios that you can choose, especially when it says what does Danny choose and you have 2 choices. So there is the potential for 9 different stories just in this one book, and it's a really, really great book for working on so many skills with our students. I'm always encouraging my students to have choices and to consider the choices that they choose and make sure they're choosing the correct and positive choices. And I really like this book where, it really breaks down those choices and the consequences of what happens from the choices that they make. Now, I will be making this really interactive with my students, and I will be asking them their opinions. I have a few non-verbal students and I have 1 verbal student, but just because they're non-verbal, it doesn't mean that they can't choose. I'll be pointing, offering different choices. I can have symbol supports printed out ready to visually show them what the 2 choices are. And honestly, if you're going to buy any picture book this year, I really think it should be this one. What should Danny do? It is perfect. And I'm not just saying that, it really is. If you want to work on behaviours, positive choices, negative choices, making any choices. And it is a really, really nice book to introduce sensory stories into your classroom. Like I said, you can get superhero capes and everyone can dress up as a superhero. I don't think I've ever met one of my children who doesn't like superheroes yet. But with all this as well, you can add it to superhero themes. You can take so many resources and activities for the students to work on after it. You could even make your own capes with your students. So make a cape before you read the book, and then the students they wear their very own capes. So again, they're starting something from the very, very beginning, and they're carrying it all the way through to even having this story. So I hope you found this video helpful and so you can see what some of my sensory stories are like in action. Let me know in the comments below if you were going to try sensory stories. I'm going to link down there the link to our podcast where I discuss our sensory stories in more detail. And I will also link down all about this book here, and where you can follow them on Instagram as well, where they share more information and different things you can do with this book. So thank you for listening, and check back soon for more YouTube videos.